Hi, I'm Ed Frontera, and in my counseling practice, I often helped clients who were challenged by decision dilemmas. When teaching at the university, I always included a section on problem solving and critical thinking in the curriculum. Well, about a year ago, I was introduced to a book called Smart Decisions by Mr. Peter Arthur Smith, who outlines a process that he calls option solving. We're here today with the author to share with you his process of option solving.
Hello, my name is Peter Arthur Smith and I want to introduce you to the world of option solving. Option solving is a technique that I gradually stumbled across a few years ago in my work of advising executives or groups of executives within either for-profit or non-profit organizations. In that work, I would find myself discussing their problems. They would have financial problems, people problems, personal problems, motivational problems, hiring problems, or competition problems, and so on. If I let those discussions get out of hand, their whole lives would seem like one big problem. I've always tended to look on the word problem as somewhat of a negative word, one that would undermine the positive nature of any conversation. To this end, and over time, I started to talk executives about their options. This would not only change the nature of the conversation, but it would also turn out to be much more productive. Around the same time, I reconnected with an important Einstein quote, where he said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." What was he saying? He was alluding to the fact that our minds consist of two broad hemispheres. One that devotes its time to more rational things, numbers, analysis, logic, words, data and facts. The other which devotes time to more intuitive issues, concepts, ideas, humor, pictures, senses and dreams. Since that time, neuroscientists have discovered a whole lot more. They are now aware that our rational minds can absorb about 40 pieces of information per second, whereas our intuitive ones absorb about 11 million pieces of information per second, especially with pictures. A huge difference in power. Option solving is a technique which enables us to fully utilize the power of our intuitive mind. When faced with decision dilemmas, the more we can turn to our intuitive minds, the more likely it is that we will come up with an appropriate solution. Option solving will introduce you to making more of our intuitive intelligence by means of the following steps. Step 1. Creating an intuitive thought-provoking question. Step 2. Once your question has been formed, then you will devise your two bookends. These bookends are extreme options at either end of the choice spectrum. The purpose of these, as for the initial question, is to frame the exercise so that our mind can fully embrace the alternatives. Our intuitive minds will naturally push these extreme options away and, in so doing, will generate a series of more insightful in-between options. Step 3. Come up with at least 5 to 6 in-between options. The reason for 5 to 6 options is to encourage maximum out-of-the-box thinking by the intuitive mind. Step 4. Emotional distancing. Give yourself 5 to 10 minute break after you've laid out your options before choosing. Other times you might prefer a couple of hours. Even other times you might prefer to sleep on it, something we've all been encouraged to do at some point. When we return to our option picture, our intuitive mind will have subconsciously cleared away the clutter, made the trade-offs and seen the forest before the trees. Step 5. As an alternative, once we have come up with our primary choice, we can also peel the onion. This means we can now pursue another sub-option exercise based upon our primary choice. Such an approach can be particularly powerful when developing or executing strategies where a continuous series of decisions is needed to optimize our approach. Step 6. Implementation. Now we can pursue the execution of our option solving efforts, the how. One of the important principles of option solving is not to get into the how mode before we have resolved the what. Suffice it is to say that when you come to implementing your option, you will most likely proceed with the conviction and emotional comfort that you have made the best choice. You are unlikely to second guess yourself because your instincts will be satisfied that you have settled on your best option at this moment in time. Group option solving. Although much of this introduction has been devoted to you and your decision dilemmas, there is considerable advantage in resolving such dilemmas with an appropriate group of people. Drawing upon the intuitive experience of an appropriately informed group can be especially effective. It has been well proven that where such groups are polled independently, their collective wisdom is much more insightful than one person on his or her own. An added advantage of using the wisdom of crowds is the considerable increase in participant buy-in. The act of consultation is proportionate to the degree of commitment. So finally, the key points gained from option solving include accessing the whole mind, the intuitive mind, taking the advantage of the wisdom of crowds wherever possible, securing extra levels of buy-in where groups are involved, framing the right question and bookends to spur the most creative options, finding peace of mind in an ultimately chosen option because of all other reasonable options have been considered, being especially useful when pursuing specific strategies as it can optimize decision making at each key point on the journey. Now let's move ahead with your own practical experience in option solving to address one of your key decision dilemmas.